Hello and welcome to the Grand Prix Baltimore Quarterfinals. I'm Randy Bueller, joining the booth with Gabe Carlton Barnes. We are going to watch the match between number 22 ranked player in the world, Hall of Famer Ben Stark, arguably the best limited player on the planet and has been for quite some time. He's playing against Raptor, former player of the year, number 20 ranked, future Hall of Famer Josh Utter-Leyton. Now, Josh has basically a teamer deck is the short version. It's really a red-green deck splashing blue for an Icy Blast in particular. And, you know, he's got a Treasure Cruise in there as well. But yeah, basically a red-green deck with a touch of blue for some nice power. I walked over to Josh and was like, what do you think of it? And he was like, it's terrible. But, so Raptor's like, it's bad, but I didn't pass a playable in any color. So he felt like what Josh said following up, he's like, I just hope the cards on the other side of the table were as bad as they were on my side.
Well, he is in for a surprise.
Yeah, that's what we didn't tell Josh that, obviously, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Ben sort of had the opposite reaction to the draft, which was to say, what in the world happened? My deck is so good. And if you were watching, we watched that draft on stream, and it is a doozy. So,
yeah, Ben has High Sentinels, he got Sorin, he's got a couple of pony backs. He's got, you know, a Rush, Raider Spoils, just the Mardu token Dream deck, complete with multiple bomb rares.
Yeah, and Ben's deck not looking too scary yet. He's got a great Anic Bond.
Fair.
The Jeskai Student, obviously not the scariest card in the world, and he's got that in there for curve considerations. But he's got all three colors now, and we're looking at how he wants to attack this turn. You can see the High Sentinels in his hand.
Aha!
So does he want to expose that to any potential removal from Josh Utter-Leyton?
Survey says, yeah.
Yep, let's give it a try.
3/3 flying, bomb of awesomeness. Your go.
3/4 and soon to be bigger. And Josh looking at it thinking, well, that's better than the cards that were on my side of the table.
Yeah, Josh doesn't have a single gold card in his deck.
That's
the blue splash, yeah, an Icy Blast, a Mystic of the Hidden Way, a Treasure Cruise.
Wow.
He's just like, he's a red-green beatdown deck.
Well, he does have his blue mana, so at least he gets to play whatever spells he wants. And he's got a handful of cards there, but nothing that really seems to match up well against a High Sentinels of Errage.
Not all that much does. He does not have a Savage Punch. He does have a Burn Away in his deck. He's got an Arrow Storm in his deck.
Attacking here into the High Sentinels with the 2/3 Tuskar Captain.
He's got an Awaken the Bear and a Dragon Scale boon.
He's clearly got one of those in his hand, or he's assuming that Ben Stark will be afraid to block, although Ben has the really easy block of just the Jeskai
you block
Student
with the
in front
1/3?
of it. Yep, and that's probably what Ben will do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And say, okay, if you've got a trick, spend your turn on it. All I'm losing is this 1/3 that's sort of the last card that I added to my deck anyway.
Looks like Dragon Scale boon? Oh no, War Trigger.
He's just
a bounce.
War Trigger. So nice job by Josh Utter-Leyton to sell that attack.
Yeah, that's true. We all believed he had the trick, and it seems like he maybe just wanted the raid trigger.
Yeah.
Or maybe both. Maybe he had the trick also, but was content to bounce and play out 6 power worth of guys.
So, pretty wild here. You got the ability to put a counter on any creature for Ben, and with the Anic Bondkin, that creature then has first strike.
Not bad.
So the question is, will he do that?
Yeah, it's a pretty mana-intensive ability. He'd rather make sure he doesn't fall too far behind on board. His card quality is so awesome. He can actually, attack with the High Sentinels. And so he kills the Bloodfire Expert with debilitating injury, outlasts the Bondkin.
And the outlast counter from the Bondkin gives High Sentinels +1/+1. So that High Sentinels is now a 4/5. So he's getting in a big hit, putting the onus on Josh to try to find a way to get into the game. And Josh can attack him, but he's not hitting him nearly as hard as Ben is hitting back. Looks like Josh has a lot of lands in his hand. He does have a Longbow Archer, handy to have against flyers, but that High Sentinel is a little big for it.
4/5 and counting.
Yeah.
Where do you have High Sentinels of Erishin in the Pantheon? Is it the best? It's probably not the best card in the set to open, but I mean, it's on the short list, right?
It's certainly top 5. And, you know, one of the reasons for that is it's only one color and it's the best color.
Right.
So
I have Wingmate Rock ahead of it.
I think Wingmate Rock is certainly ahead of it.
Not much else.
It's hard. I never do that thing where I look at all the cards and pick them out. But
you don't normally
you see
have
a
to
card
debate
like-
rares, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're never going to open a pack with a high Sentinels and find something better, unless maybe it's a foil rare.
Yeah, foil wingmate rock maybe you might. But yeah, it's one of those cards where you're so happy when you open it. Really easy to cast. Only 1 white mana. Really powerful. Just dominates games. And cheap too. It's only 4 mana.
Right?
One of the other cards I love to open in this format was actually in Ben's pack that he opened with Eye Sentinels, right? It was the Murderous Cut.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Probably the best non-rare to open, in my opinion. Ben figuring out how to push his advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Josh does have 10 power worth of guys.
He does. There's a lot of power on the table.
Yeah, Bonkin can attack in because High Sentinels can give it another +1/+1 counter, which would first strike down the Hooting Mandrills if Josh were to block. So Josh can't block, so Ben just gets a solid 7 damage through and can spend his mana on something else if he wants to.
And he'll spend that putting a counter on the Jeskai student
all right.
4 damage.
So he gets in an extra point of damage. The High Sentinels picks up yet another +1/+1.
Yeah, so
and
that's
now he's
8.
got a 2/4 blocker.
Attacks for 8.
Eight's a good
pushes
number when your
Josh
opponent's at 16.
at 8. Yep, exactly half of his life. Josh in the position where he's going to have to keep a blocker back just so he doesn't die on the attack. And Ben putting him in a position that he has to do something now, although, you know, Josh has this huge board, but Ben's still at 18 life, so even if he has, you know, some kind of you can't block effect or
He has
threaten
Barrage of
effect,
Boulders in his deck. He also has Active Treason in his deck.
so Active Treason would be the one here that would be really, really good.
How much
That
damage
might be-
does that? It doesn't do 18.
It doesn't. It does. The High Sentinels would be 4 because he has 1 creature with a counter. And
Well, he might, I mean, Active Treason Jeskai Student might actually be better.
Right,
Because
to
it clears
prevent the
any
block.
potential blockers. If you just wanted to deal max damage.
and so that
But
would
it's
be
still, it only
9,
deals like 12.
12, yeah. So he would need, if he had a second active Treason and another land, that would do it. But I
Well,
don't
he
think
only
does.
plays 1.
Interesting. Josh trying to imagine a path to winning this game.
Yeah, Josh, like we said, discovering that the cards on the other side of the table may have just been better.
Yeah.
All right, well, turn him sideways. Jeskai Student doesn't have any easy blocks.
Well, it is a 2/4. So
Right, it can bounce. It doesn't have any favorable
doesn't
blocks.
get to pick anything off, yeah. So easy damage for Josh Utter-Leyton. He
Gets
he
in
attacks for
7, dropping Ben to 11.
And now he's going to play
Yeah, he needs to play a
Longbow
guy,
Archer.
otherwise he would die.
gain a life and say, all right,
Now, if Ben can remove Longbow Archer, he just wins, right?
yeah, absolutely. And he can. He has Rise right of the Serpent, which is going
That
to kill the
should
Longbow
do
Archer,
it.
and that will do it. The Jeskai Student triggers, and we got tons of damage over there.
Yeah, Ben Stark with the quick 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
Deck looks great. Josh was not in love with his own deck. Two
And-
great players, but edge Ben Stark.
And Ben also had a great draw there. He had the High Sentinels
Yeah.
on turn 4, and great
Curve
against
straight to
Josh's
Rise
deck.
of the Serpent on turn 6.
Yeah.
Solid. All right, let's check in on Gerard, Fabiano, and Craig Wescoe.
No surprise, no creatures in play. You can see a dead drop in Gerard's graveyard.
Indeed.
And a throttle removed. Looks like he's been removing creatures for,
It's kind of what his deck does.
and here exactly what he wants to be doing. He plays Sultai Soothsayer, looks at his top 4, and gets to pick another card.
Yeah, so Craig did wind up Jeskai. He had red-white. He could have splashed black if he drafted the Sarin. He decided to splash the blue for the Flying Kraken technique, which I guess he probably already had in his pile of cards at that point
Yep.
when he eschewed the Sarin. So he's like, I've already got a bomb rare in that I can touch 4. Really would have liked to pack 4 to be solid 2-color. As it is, it's a little creature light. There's like 4 Valley Dashers in his list just to get to like 13 creatures.
Now, that's not, there are, looking at the list here, there are 3 Valley Dashers. Not the worst thing against Gerard's deck. You know, Gerard
True.
not leaving a lot of guys in
No,
play.
Valley Dasher is 3 Valley Dashers, not 4, but still.
Yep.
There are matchups where you're happy to have Valley Dashers. He can definitely deal some damage.
Yeah. The Flying Crane technique, though, not looking particularly good against Gerard, who tends to, his deck looks like it wants to just eliminate creatures. You're not going to get a big board stall where Flying Crane technique can just swing in for the win.
Now, Craig got 2 Hordling Outbursts, which could work out.
Though, yeah, those would be very good
And
against
Gerard has to kill all the token creatures. Like, the token strategy should be decent against Gerard. It doesn't look like Craig's strong any of that this game, though. Oh, I do see 1 Hordling Outburst at the bottom of that graveyard.
Yep, and it looks to me like probably at some point Gerard did resolve a Rakshas's secret because
Aha.
Craig's hand totally empty. And it's hard to tell because there's a big pile of exiled cards. We can't quite track the entire history of the game. The Sultai Soothsayer put a treasure cruise in the graveyard and a debilitating injury, so got something pretty good. I think it was an Abomination of Gadul. So
a creature to actually like attack with?
Yeah, I think he's looking
deal
to
damage to the opponent. Does Gerard do that?
Yeah, I think eventually when he has no other options, when you have no cards left to deal with, he says, well, what do I do now? He plays
what? You have a card in your hand? No, you can't have cards in your hand.
Having none of that, Gerard needing to
don't
loot.
forget.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta mill yourself. Oh, the Sagu Watcher.
Sagu Mauler. Craig takes a look to make sure he saw what he thinks he saw. And prepares to take 5. It was indeed Abomination of Gadul. And Gerard loots. Looks like he has this one pretty locked up.
Yes, it does. Sagu Mauler would have been even better, but it does not look necessary.
No, totally unnecessary.
It's still fun to attack with.
It certainly is. I mean, it's fun to just cast that thing. Gerard thinking about, well, am I worried about you having a Wrath effect? Nope, just want to kill you. And Craig will look at his hand. And there's that Hordeling Outburst. Probably not going to be enough for him here.
It doesn't look like it.
Well, we were thinking an aggressive deck might be good against Gerard's strategy, but Gerard looks to be very likely to go up a game here.
Yeah, when he gets the game to this point, he's extremely favored. I'm sure Craig has draws that can beat him, but I mean, Craig didn't seem delighted with his deck.
Right.
Like I said, as soon as I got there, he was like, I'm ready for pack 4.
Yeah, never a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, the first 17, 18 cards are great.
Interesting thing here, you know, Craig has basically seen all of Gerard's deck at this point. So he has to go to his sideboard and say, like, all right, I know what your plan is. Here's how I'm going to try to solve it. But does he have anything in his sideboard that's going to help him? You know, do you take out Flying Crane technique?
I don't think so.
You know?
I mean, he wishes he had more creatures, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, if he had more creatures.
I mean, you want to
bring
be
in,
16, 17, 18 creatures with Flying Crane technique is among your tricks.
You know what he does have in his sideboard is the cancel.
All right, well, Gerard wins. They are on their way to game 2. Speaking of game 2s, let's go back over to Raptor and Ben S. Bloodfire Expert is Josh Utter-Leyton's turn 3 play. Disowned Ancestor and Seeker have already come down from Ben as he untaps for turn 3.
Using all of his mana, that's a nice feeling.
Oh yeah.
Especially in this format.
I mean, he can attack Seeker into Bloodfire Expert. Probably trades. I mean, 2 prowess triggers is probably not happening. I don't know, Expert's pretty good at trading with things.
It certainly is.
Seems like his mission in life. He's also okay at triggering Ferocious.
That trade will happen. Looks like Ben's going to outlast
Gain life
here.
and outlast.
He might have a 2-drop.
He
has
a
number
two-drop?
of 2-drops in his deck.
Outlast.
Outlast. This game looking a little better for Josh. No bombs yet for Ben.
See what happens next turn. 4 is the bomb slot in
That is true.
Ben's mana curve. Sorin, High Sentinels.
Oh, Sorin is in his hand.
Oh.
Look at that. So he could very easily play Sorin and make a flyer here. But he has the High Sentinels again. Wow.
That's so ridiculous.
This is not fair.
He has to
Not
choose
fair
which
at
bomb
all.
to play it for.
Wow. I think clearly you play the creature before.
Yeah, it's even a 4/5 because you outlasted Disowned Ancestor.
Yeah, going pretty well for Ben.
Long Shot Squad is a depressingly well-named card here.
Yes, Long Shot Squad is a little bit outclassed at this point. Josh has, it looks like a Dragon Scale Boon over there. Maybe he's going to try and ambush. High Sentinels comes in, he plays the Long Shot, he plays the Dragon Scale Boon, Long Shot Squad can now block and is untapped.
Still only
But High Sentinels could then put a
4/5
counter on
though,
itself. Long Shot Squad would be 5/5, but
5/5.
High Sentinels would be a 4/5 and then could put a counter on itself. So that plan won't work.
Ben's trying to figure out why he shouldn't block with Disowned Ancestor. I guess he loses to Awaken the Bear. It's like, look, if you want to Awaken the Bear and spend your turn killing my Disowned Ancestor, I'm okay with that.
Well, this works out okay for Josh. Now he can block the High Sentinels, although Ben can choose just not to attack, of course. It's not a mid-combat trick. Ben thinks about attacking, and then thinks better of it. Some quick math.
That was close.
You can see Josh shake.
Like, I almost had him.
It was so close. Ben picking up the High Sentinels and teasing him for a moment with it. So, looks like Josh has some removal in his hand. Do I see a burn away?
There is one in his list.
Yeah, I think that's a burn away. So he's debating, hey, do I play around a feat of resistance here? Interesting. So Josh has the option of passing here, and assuming that Ben would put a counter on his High Sentinels, responding to it with the burn away. That's probably what he's hoping for, but he does not want to get hit by that feat of resistance. Of course, we're pretty sure Ben Stark doesn't have a feat of resistance, but Josh doesn't know that. And that's probably the only card he has that can deal with the High Sentinels.
Goes War Shrieker into Bloodfire Expert.
Yep.
And what Ben had for him was Take-Up Arms. 3 warriors.
So, Ben...
how's that going to work out with the Sorin that he's holding?
It seems pretty good. It's also plenty more creatures to put counters on to pump up High Sentinels while getting the bonus counter on something else. And he draws Debilitating Injury.
He's got Ponyback in his hand, too?
Yeah, he does. He doesn't have any red mana, but,
Still, I mean, he can debilitate and play a Morph. He can... Does he have the Sorin?
He has the Sorin,
okay.
Yeah. You could play Sorin and make a flyer if you wanted to. I think probably the plan is to deploy more guys before you can do that. You can debilitate... Debilitating Injury, not that exciting.
Lifelink's not awful here.
It's true, it's not. And it gives these creatures a much better ability to
trade. And they hold on to exactly the plus ability on Sorin gives their creatures +1/+0 and lifelink until your next turn. So they would have that on defense.
Yeah, and that's clearly not the plan because he's playing the High Sentinels, putting the High Sentinels in combat before activating that.
Yeah,
ability.
It seems like Debilitating Injury and a Morph uses his mana more efficiently, sets himself up. If he comes up with the red mana to flip that pony back, now how good is Sorin, right?
Really.
With 6 tokens in play.
And it's almost always the case that, you want to deploy your creatures efficiently before your Planeswalkers, so it makes it harder for your opponent to deal with a Planeswalker.
Right.
And Ben sort of sticking by the classic sequence there.
I mean, and Ben doesn't have any great blocks here. Josh probably feels like, I could actually sort of race here. You want to take 8? And Ben's like, what you don't know is that I can get a whole bunch of life. Yes, I'm willing to take 8.
Yeah. And nice play.
Burn away. Down goes High Sentinels.
After he gets to knock off the High Sentinels, just what he wanted to be able to do. Play
he feels like he's in this.
Yeah. And now, I would love to see his face. Poor guy. When Sorin, is that a Raider Spoils? That is a Raider Spoils.
There is Sorin. There is Raptor's face. The nod, yup.
Oh, unreal. So you can see him leave 2 creatures back so that he, if he wants to, can chump and save Sorin.
Gain some life.
Yeah.
You can actually trade with either of those creatures for the War Shrieker. Presumably it would be the Warrior. I'm mildly surprised the Morph didn't attack, I guess.
Well, the Morph can trade for the War Shrieker directly. The Soldier a little too small, so gets the trade. Doesn't have any red mana, so not playing too bad.
Not that valuable.
But the crazy thing
Gains
is,
more life.
he's got this interaction between, he's got warriors that are going to have lifelink, and
Raider spoils.
Raider spoils draw him more cards by paying life.
Yeah,
but
we call that
excess life.
necro. He's going to necro for 2.
He's going to necro, and he's going to have lifelink creatures attacking. So, pretty good. And that's exactly what Ben wanted to see. No creature from Josh.
Wow.
So now he gets to, unimpeded, Raider spoils.
And he can plus Sorin too, where the Longshot squad can't even kill it next turn.
That's right. He may still want to protect it. So, he has to use most of his mana to play the Raider spoils, and then he has only 2 left if he draw. Not a lot of cards in his deck allow him to put another creature out. So
I feel like you can Raider spoils plus Sorin, hit for 6, gain 6, draw 2 cards.
I absolutely think that's probably the correct play, but he's looking for an opportunity to protect Sorin maybe just a little bit more.
Granted, I'm just saying the +1 means it survives a 5-power Longshot squad next turn.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, I would not leave one of those warriors back. I think Raider spoils, drawing the cards from Raider spoils and gaining the life is pretty nice.
Well, we also know that Josh's deck is not too good for a Dragon Scale boon, which could be pretty good here, ambushing one of these warriors.
All right, he does go up with Sorin. Yeah.
Warriors
Ben's going to attack for 6. Presumably, he's only going to gain 4 because he's going to pay 2 life to draw 2 cards.
And you have this much life, a life for a card, definitely a good deal. There's very few life points that I wouldn't be willing to trade for a card.
Featured Chief.
Oh,
Chief of the Scale. Or Chief of the Edge. Which one? Scale? Edge?
It looks to me like Chief of the Edge.
Yeah, Edge.
That's Scale.
But it is
Rashad
Chief
says
of Scale.
it's the Scale.
Okay. So we can check Ben's list and see.
Yeah, he decides to chomp to preserve 5 loyalty on Sorin.
And this board just such a huge advantage
now,
for Ben Stark.
do you think about ultimating Sorin?
Ultimating Sorin seems like the kind of play where it gets hard to lose, especially with the soldier warriors in play. Josh can't sit there and just accumulate creatures in his hand to get them all out.
Yeah,
at once.
there's 4 power worth of soldiers already, or warriors, and you're drawing cards. It's your 2 lands, but still, and ultimate Sorin makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Acquire an emblem. That emblem says Josh has to sacrifice a creature at the beginning of each of his turns.
And
here we go, Sorin emblem.
You can't remove an emblem.
That is
super
powerful.
And
adds a Battle Priest to his board. Down goes the Longshot squad to the Sorin emblem. Hard to imagine how Josh gets out of this.
Well, I think he just did draw a Treasure Cruise, but he's going to scoop it up.
Yeah. All right, Ben Stark through to the semis with a beauty of a deck.
One heck of a deck.
Yeah. Great really player, great deck, pretty devastating combination. Yeah, Josh is just kind of smiling. He had no chance there. Good news is you don't have to feel bad about that one.
No, you certainly don't.
I got a top 8. I got some pro points. I got some money. I got just destroyed. I never saw good cards during the draft. Ben Stark showed up with Sorin and High Sentinels of Arishan.
You think he's telling him where he got that Sorin?
I don't know if you want to rub it in.
Somebody shipped this to me. And
he's probably telling me about the Chief.
Yeah.
Like the Chief of the Scale with 3 cards left in the pack was, I think, more unbelievable than the 3rd pick Sorin.
It was pretty bonkers. So it looks like Craig may have tied this up since they're shuffling now, and it's been a while.
This is game 3 coming up. Yeah. So I guess Craig won a pretty quick game 2 while we were watching that.
May have found a good sideboard plan. Gerard
Maybe
also
just gotten a good draw. Like if he comes out, Hordling Outburst, Flying Crane technique, the game just ends.
Sure, yeah. Definitely hard for Gerard to deal with. And Gerard, notorious also for being resistant to mulligans.
It is true.
So sometimes you'll catch him with an awkward hand.
The winner of this plays Ben Stark. They're all on the same side of the bracket.
Very exciting. And the winner of this gets the privilege of trying to beat Ben Stark's absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, I was saying when I went and watching the draft and then walking around looking at the decks, did not change my prediction for the finals. Going in, just based on player strength, I had it as Ben Stark over Chris Fennell. Still what I got.
Yeah, based on the decks. Well, that would be pretty cool to see those Florida guys match up. Looks like Gerard's got a nice balanced hand over there. And probably he'll keep.
All right. One game to see who goes to the semis. Craig's willing to mulligan.
Craig says his hand doesn't look good enough to beat Gerard's strategy.
Gerard has won a Grand Prix relatively recently, Grand Prix Montreal. I think he's got 6 or 7 or 8 top 8s in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting up there. I think 2 wins, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Montreal was his 2nd career win.
And Gerard has been, of course, on and off the Pro Tour for a number of years.
Oh, yeah. He's got tons of pro points.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of Pro Tours.
Always been, sort of one of those characters around the game.
Good guy, yeah.
I got to know Gerard
to
at
have
some
around.
point, but I'd known his name for years before that.
Sure.
So you hear stories about Gerard all the time. No character. And almost as entertaining in person as he is to watch draft. Yeah. There you see Gerard and Craig. Craig, also a classic Pro Tour character and champion. Looks like he's looking at...
Not a great season for him last year, coming off the win the year before, but looking to get back up the Pro Club status chain.
He is
This
still...
top 8 will certainly help.
Did he make gold last year? He's still...
I think he finished silver.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think he was just short of gold.
Okay. Certainly he will be seen on the Pro Tour this year. Let's see this top 8 and that silver status. And the Valley Dasher gets in there.
Ah!
What do you think of Valley Dasher as a card?
I like it more than most. It's not good, but I will play it. I definitely have laid out decks and put the Valley Dashers right in the 2 spot. And
all right, I'm the same. I've been scolded by many teammates for trying to play a Valley Dasher. When
people have been trying to talk me out of it. That's what I feel like too. I clearly like it more than most people. I think I'm probably wrong to like it. It's one of those where I'm beginning to believe my teammates are just right to talk me out of playing it.
Yeah, I think there's a time and place for Valley Dasher, and I think Craig's deck might be it.
Yes.
Certainly in this game, it's looking a little awkward. It can't stay back to stop the Elder if that's what Craig wants to do. Craig could have last turn by declaring his combat first and then playing the Valley Dasher, and decided not to. I think he knows that.
Yeah, you get blown out by any prowess trick anyway. Do you really want to block Jeskai Elder with your 2/2?
Yeah, or he could just play a Rakshasa Secret,
block,
which he knows Gerard has.
Right.
And attack. So now Gerard with a great turn, he gets to play a tap land, he gets to loot away an extra land, he gets to put an Archer's Parapet into play. And Craig now, his Valley Dasher muted by the Parapet, but can't stay back to block.
I mean, the thing about Valley Dasher, it is good on turn 2. It's just actively good if you get to play it on turn 2 in most matchups.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare it to a lot of cards that have been played in constructed Magic, it costs 1 more mana than a Goblin Guide. And it doesn't have the disadvantage a Goblin Guide has. 2/2 haste.
Wow, multiplier ready to eat the Valley Dasher.
Yeah, so
the problem with Valley Dasher is you get in 4 damage or 6 damage, and then they play something that has to eat it. And now suddenly Craig is obliged to start playing tricks. Maybe he has a Feat of Resistance. It's well,
I think Craig's ready to give up on Valley
or
Dasher.
he has to give up on Valley Dasher. I think I saw Smite the Monstrous in his hand, which doesn't do anything on this board.
Really, really awkward Smite.
And the other problem with Valley Dasher is, now if you top deck it, it's just a terrible draw.
Yep.
It's usually decent on turn 2, but it's terrible on any late turn of the game.
It's good on turn 2. It's maybe not amazing on turn 2.
It's usually good on turn 2.
Yeah, because it ends up,
I mean, here he got, 2 damage in, and then ran it into Archer's Parapet for no effect, and then it got eaten by Sultai Flare. He spent 2 mana and dealt 2 damage. Not good enough.
Certainly not. Craig not able to get a 2/4 out of his Arc Lightning, does knock out the Jeskai Elder. Interesting from Gerard not attacking
Gerard's
with
the control deck, and Gerard's the guy who's on the offense already.
Yep.
Gerard has stabilized and taken control of this game at 19 life.
Yeah, and he's not even attacking with his Sultai Flare because he doesn't want it to get kill-shotted, which a beautiful attitude from Gerard saying, I'm going to play around these cards that Craig, if he had them, would probably have sideboarded out long ago.
All right. Portling Outburst is probably step A of the 3 or 4 step plan for Craig to win.
Yep.
I mean, this feels like a game that... how does he win this game?
He's on the mulligan. He's got the dead removal spell in his hand.
It's basically Flying Crane technique, right?
Yeah, but he would have to accumulate a lot more creatures first.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's going to get time to do that. Certainly, Craig doesn't want to block here because he has to accumulate creatures, so Craig just has to take the damage.
Sounds right. Gerard continues to hold Flair back.
Yeah.
Here's Rakshas's secret. How's your mulligan feeling now? How about you're down another card?
So there goes the smite in the plains. Yeah. We didn't see what the other card was, but clearly it's a spell. So I think you would keep smite over a land here.
Yeah.
And is it the Flying Crane technique? He's drawing a land. Craig just does not have a lot to work with here. Gerard, you can see speeding up, feeling pretty confident.
He's like, all right, fine. Sultai Flare's coming in too. Let's get 6 mana if he wants to start flipping morphs.
One of the morphs is a monastery flock. I'm not sure what the other one is.
Probably don't want to flip that one.
No, he's got it in beatdown mode. Does not get the going attack. Craig just trying to imagine a way that he wins this game. Come up with a line that can give him a chance. He's thinking about the cards in his deck that he could draw. It's an attack for 7, Craig at 12.
Is he gonna triple block a morph?
I think that's what he's looking at, but
hope to trade his goblins for a morph.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. How about that one?
That's the monastery flock, so I think it's just going to happen. And
you don't flip if you're Gerard, right? You just trade it for the 2 goblins?
Yeah, I think you're happy to get those goblins off the table, you know, turns on your dead drop if he plays another bomb.
Right.
Works around all those trumpet blasts and all those sorts of spells that can be good against you. Gerard, inquiring right now, given that the Sultai Flare has a trigger where when a creature goes to the graveyard, if it had more than 3 toughness, he gains life. Well, that's a monastery flock.
Right. I'm sure that's what he's asking about.
Yeah, but right now it's a 2/2, so
right.
He's asking if he gains life. He doesn't, but Gerard just making sure that his cards don't do something that he's going to miss out on. So, there you go. He orders the blockers.
Oh,
Craig Wescoe going to play
the defensive Flying Crane technique.
And
my guys,
irony
flying
is,
and double strike.
That's
not even enough to kill a monastery flock. Gerard is just going to flip it. It'll be an 0/5 that takes 4 damage.
Or he's going to play his Blinding Spray.
What?
Which is an amazing answer to a Flying Crane technique.
Speaking of, you've been talking all weekend about cards that people have gotten more respect as people learn the format.
Yeah.
I think most people looked at Blinding Spray. They're like, this card's terrible. This is just one of those terrible cards they put in to junk up my booster packs. It's like, no, it's actually a sideboard card that you are supposed to bring in sometimes.
Yeah, it can be pretty legitimate in the kind of deck that Gerard has. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gerard main decked it. It's a very Gerard card based on the strategy that he's got, you know? And Craig forced to chump here, I think.
Sideboard.
Okay.
In from the sideboard.
So he did bring it in from the sideboard, and that's going to be, yeah, all Gerard needs now is to play the land in his hand and activate his parapet. Craig making a gesture of putting a counter on his goblin and killing the morph. And now he's going to parapet. And that's it.
Wow.
Gerard onto the semis.
All right, Craig Gerard Fabiano. Through to the semis where he will be taking on Ben Stark.
We get to see the 2 decks we drafted.
It's true. It is how it's going to work out. I haven't heard any updates on the other side of the bracket. I know that we've got the turbo camera on one of them. Okay, Harry Bradford is through, and the last match is the one we've recorded. So are they still playing, or can we go back to the beginning and watch? Awesome. Chris
All right.
Fennell and David Foster.
Let's see what happens.
Now, Chris Fennell drafted Teamer, which he's been drafting, but this Teamer's a little different. It's a little creature light. I was talking to him about it, and he felt like he didn't have any spells to interact with his opponent in Pack 2, so he made an effort to take a couple spells to actually have the ability to interact with his opponent in Pack 2, and then Pack 3 had nothing but awesome spells.
Right.
So, a little creature light. He did say he's got 2 dragons, pointing to Riverwheel, Aerialist, and Thousand Winds, which he was referring to as dragons. He's like, I can win the game with dragons.
Those are pretty big.
All right, yeah, let's watch it. David Foster, meanwhile, has a good Abzan in terms of card quality, but he has almost no fixing. Like, he's solidly 3-color Abzan, but with a grand total of 1 gain land.
That can be tough. If it works out, he looks fine.
Yeah,
But
no, he definitely knew that he was short mana fixing. He wanted the mana fixing, but I mean, do what you got to do. All right, so Chris Fennell on the left, David Foster on the right. David Foster, 2nd Grand Prix ever. He's definitely the rookie in this top 8.
Wow.
Seemed a little nervous. You know, actually picked up a warning for picking his pack up too early with
And
like
look
3
at
cards
all
left in
3
it.
colors of land.
Wow, forest, plain,
Yeah,
swamp.
That's the way you do it.
Absolutely. Long shot squad versus a couple of morphs.
And those morphs a little hard to see on the screen there, those black sleeves.
Yeah, we'll manage. Yeah, Hate Blade.
Chris Fennell missing a
block.
color, looks like. Offers the trade for the Hate Blade, and the Snowhorn Rider
Wow,
goes to the graveyard.
it's a fine trade.
Great trade for David.
And here's Alpine Curseling.
It looks like
2 of each for
there's
David
1,000
Foster.
wins.
No
oh,
problem.
Abzan Charmed.
Oh,
You gotta
jeez.
be. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and
that is a
Awaken the
crushing.
Bear!
Wow.
What a
Fennell's in
destruction!
trouble.
Chris Fennell is in trouble. He's only got 2 colors.
The Scion's a great start.
David Foster's just turning everything sideways. Yeah, you
That's
try
how
to
you play
block.
Magic,
And
there it
Ob's on
is.
guide.
Wow.
Kablam!
Fennell missing a color against the deck that has no fixing, but draws perfect colored mana. I'm sure he's not happy about that. And that 1,000 Winds came out. Abs and Guide hit it right away, and that was it for Fennell.
Crazy. That was fast.
It was fast. Yeah, that Alpine Grizzly, they say
It hits hard.
just trades with the morph, but if it connects, man, it takes away your life total fast. So
Awaken the Bear. Sometimes it wakes up.
yeah, when that Grizzly gets woken up after a nice Alpine hibernation, man, dangerous creature.
All right, let's see what happens in game 2.
Fennell is a mountain this time.
It looks like a mulligan for David Foster.
David Foster has to mulligan, probably likely a result of his land situation.
Yeah, like I said, his card quality looked great, but
And it showed there.
yeah, I don't know how much drafting he's done at this level, but the lands do not float the way they do Friday Night Magic or even on Magic Online.
It's true, the players value those lands. All right, so we're off. And
Air of the Wilds,
David Foster
solid
with a good
2-drop.
start again. And there he is, all 3
Swamp,
colors.
Forest, Plains.
He's got it. And Fennell,
When does he play cards?
oh my gosh.
What about Ob's Ascendancy?
Ob's on Ascendancy. Fennell picks them up.
What?
That is it. Just like that.
What?
David Foster against Chris Fennell.
What
And
a savage beating!
That was a crushing. Hey, Chris Fennell had to take a gamble there, keeping that hand. I think he needed another
He didn't play a
color.
spell.
Didn't play a spell. Played his lands. Said go.
He played 2-color in both games
Yeah.
against the Ob's on fix. Now, how many